Everyone is losing their minds over ChatGPT. You open up Twitter, sorry, X, because we're all pretending we're cool now, and it's the same circus. AGI is coming, the singularity, this will end humanity, this will save humanity. My AI girlfriend said I'm special, and like whatever. And I'm just sitting here, like you people are staring at the fireworks while the building already burnt down 5 years ago because everyone is looking in the wrong direction. What I've noticed is that we are obsessing over the storefront while the warehouse has been looted. The security cameras ripped off the wall and the entire supply chain replaced with a slot machine that runs on our nervous systems. So we started to think that the AI revolution started in late 2022 because a chatbot could finally write a mediocre cover letter and a LinkedIn post that sounds like it was written by a hostage, which is cute. It's adorable. That's like thinking the war started when the first soldier took his helmet off and waved at the camera. No, the war it was already over. The occupation did not start with a bang. It started with a silent update to a server farm all the way back in 2016, 9 years ago. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I'm not trying to be dramatic or poetic. I'm being super literal. So we need to talk about the silent era, which is roughly from 2012 to 2022. That decade where Silicon Valley didn't build chatbots, they built a cage, which is called a digital Skinner box designed to modify human behavior at planetary scale. And they didn't use Terminators. They didn't need killer robots. They used recommender systems. And yeah, I know recommender systems sounds boring, and that's the whole point. That's the whole disguise. That's the little lab coat that they put on the monster so you don't know it's chewing your society's face off. So let's strip the marketing fluff of this. What I'm talking about is basically algorithms to make them sound like, and they're called algorithms so that way they can sound like neutral math, like a calculator. Like, hey man, don't blame us, it's just numbers. No, these systems are not passive. They are in fact super active. And they're adaptive and they're optimizing and learning and they're iterating and they're doing it inside your head. They are primitive, ruthlessly efficient forms of machine intelligence focused on one thing: behavior control through attention extraction. Not helping you find cool videos, not connecting the world, not building community. Please save that for your TED Talk. Their objective, the algorithms, whole function is simple: maximize the amount of your life that gets converted into measurable engagement. Because engagement becomes ad inventory becomes money, and money becomes power. And power, real power, does not look like a throne. It looks like the ability to steer what millions of people believe is real. So, yes, the AI era did not begin with ChatGPT. It began when the feed learned how to shape you. I want to take you back to 2016, which is going to be our year zero. Before this, recommendation engines were dumb. They were basically, if you click this, here's five more like it. You click a cat video, here are more of cats. You click a cooking video, here is Gordon Ramsay yelling at someone. Fine, that's annoying, but fine. But then Google drops that YouTube recommendations paper, which is called Deep Neural Networks for YouTube Recommendations. Covington, Adams, Sargan are the people that wrote it. And if you read it, like actually read it, you realize, oh, this is not a product update. This is the blueprint for a machine that can model, predict, and manipulate human preference at extreme scale. This is the moment YouTube stops being a website and becomes a behavior modification engine. They realized one neural network could not handle billions of users and billions of videos, so they split the brain into two: the tower setup. Tower 1, candidate generation. Tower 2, ranking. And I'm going to translate what that means in plain English. Tower 1 is the part that turns you, the viewer, into data. It takes your watch history, your search history, device type, locationist signals, time of day, language, maybe inferred age and gender, your patterns, your little habits, and compress you into a vector. A vector is basically a point in a giant mathematical space. So, you're following me still? Okay, cool. So, the machine doesn't see you, it sees coordinates. You're not a person, you're not even a customer. You're a coordinate, a bundle of probabilities. And then it goes into the universe of all videos and it pulls a few hundred candidates that are mathematically close to your vector. Then, Tower 2, the ranking network, comes in like a sniper because Tower 2 is the part that decides what you will actually see. It scores those candidates using thousands of signals: thumbnail style, title structure, your history with the creator archetype, your tendency to rage watch certain topics, your micro behaviors. Did you pause? Did you rewind? These are all micro behaviors. Did you watch at 1.5 speed? Did you bail in the first 10 seconds? Did you hover over the video but not click? Did you watch it but refuse to like it because you didn't want to be that guy or that girl? Everything is a signal. And here's where society broke. Before 2016, the key metric was clicks. Clicks are cheap. Clickbait works. So platforms are drowning in garbage thumbnails, and you won't believe what happened next. We all remember that because it was all clicks. So Google changes the objective function. They stop optimizing for clicks. They start optimizing for watch time. And people heard that and went, oh, cool, less clickbait. No, 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 no. That's not what happened. When you tell a machine maximize time spent, the machine learns very quickly that human beings are most sticky when they are emotionally dysregulated. So things like fear, rage, anxiety, paranoia, sexual curiosity, humiliation, tribal identity, moral outrage, conspiracy, doom. These are the jackpot emotions. Because calm people close the app, calm people go touch grass, calm people go to sleep. A scared person, however, or a furious person, a person who thinks they just discovered the truth that they are hiding, that person talks. So the machine starts feeding you content that spikes arousal and pins you in place. And it does not do it because it hates democracy or because it wants to radicalize you. It does not have politics. It has an objective function. It is not a conspiracy. It is worse. It is a math problem. If a 40-minute flat earth video keeps you watching longer than a 3-minute music video, the model does not care that it is nonsense. It cares that you stayed. And then creators notice what gets pushed and they adapt. So the system does not just recommend the radicalizing content, it incentivizes production of radicalizing content. That's the that's the part nobody wants to admit. Excuse me. So is everybody following me here? Okay, cool. So so that was all happening before 2016. And so the machine only cares about like these big ideas that are being pushed because everybody's staying. And so it's not like the machine starts feeding us content that spikes arousal and actually it is. That's exactly. So the machine is feeding us content that spikes arousal and puts us in place. And it doesn't do it because it hates democracy or because it wants to radicalize us. The machine does not have politics. It has an objective function. And it's not a conspiracy. It's literally just a math problem. Okay, so I'm gonna cut all of that out and then I'm gonna begin right here. That's the part nobody wants to admit. This is not just the algorithm showing you stuff. This is the algorithm reshaping what gets made because creators chase the incentives. That's a production control system. Now slide over to TikTok because while TikTok was optimizing watch time with a giant recommendation pipeline, TikTok solved the harder problem. How do we addict you without relying on your social network? Facebook learned Facebook leaned on your social graph. Who you know, who you follow, who you're connected to. TikTok basically said, "We don't care who you know. We care who you are." So they build an interesting graph and again, fancy words, which only means they don't need you to tell them your identity. They infer it from your reflexes. And TikTok's key breakthrough was not short videos, it was implicit feedback at insane resolution. You think likes matter? Likes are performative. Likes are what you do when you want to signal to the world, this is the kind of person I am. But the machine doesn't care what you want to be, it cares what you actually do. Did you hesitate for zero point 0.4 seconds? That is a signal. Did you replay? Massive signal. Did you watch to the end? Big signal. Did you swipe away in under 2 seconds? This is a negative reward. And the single most powerful signal on earth is the skip. Because the skip is honest. TikTok system can solve the cold start problem in minutes. It triangulates your interest so fast it feels like magic. But it is not magic. It is surveillance of micro reactions. You are not the customer. You are the environment. The AI is the player. And it is playing you like a video game to maximize its score. Now Facebook, and I need you to understand something about Facebook. Facebook did not accidentally polarize society. Facebook is basically what happens when you take ad tech, scale it, and point it at the human social brain. At some point around the late 2010s, they roll out their reinforcement learning infrastructure. The exact names don't actually matter. It's just the concept that we're talking about here. So, reinforcement learning is basically state, action, reward. Train a dog, same idea. So, Facebook treats your session like a decision process. The system observes your state, time of day, what you were just looking at, whether you're in a comment fighting mood, what kind of content you've been soaking in. Then it takes action, shows you a notification, a post, a memory, a suggestion group, and an outreach headline. Then it gets a reward, your engagement. But here's the terrifying part: it does not just optimize for today, it optimizes for long term value, meaning it learns to pace you. You're being paced. It learns to withhold notifications sometimes, because if it hits you too hard today, you might quit tomorrow. So it manages your addiction like a dealer with inventory control. Not too much, not too little. Keep the customer dependent, functional, and returning. And I'm saying addiction on purpose, because engagement is the corporate word for addiction. So that was the silent era. The cage got built. And the reason I'm calling it conquest is because once the cage exists, whoever controls the cage controls the population inside it. That is what people still don't get. This is not tech. This is governance. It's governance without elections, without transparency, without due process, without accountability, and without a constitution. And the craziest part is it does not even need a dictator. It just needs incentives. Now we are in the generative era, 2023 to now. And this is where the story gets way darker. Because before, the recommended system were limited by supply, and they could only recommend what humans created. And humans are slow, we sleep, we have shame, we have families, we sometimes get bored and go outside. Generative AI removes the supply constraint. Now the system can generate endless content, infinite variations, infinite thumbnails, infinite scripts, infinite fake humans, which means the loop is closed. We now have an optimization engine that can generate stimuli, measure your reaction, and generate the next stimulus over and over until it finds the exact pattern that hijacks you. If you don't see how insane that is, let me put it in a military frame. This is a weaponized OODA loop. Observe your micro behaviors, orient your psychological profile, and decide what stimulus to serve you, and it's going to deliver that instantly. And it runs faster than your conscious brain. Your conscious mind, our conscious mind is slow. It's the guy riding the elephant. The algorithm is steering that elephant. And look at what happened to creators. We now have tools that analyze the platform and tell creators exactly what to make. Thumbnails, there are tools that basically do retention engineering by instinct now. High saturation, high contrast, open mouth, big face, red arrows, shock, rage. Yep, people call it the Mr. Beastification. And that's literally what's happening, because everything is being turned into infinite content because of AI. And that's a big deal. Okay. Fuck, I lost my spot. Uh, fuck, fuck. Uh, uh, why can't I fucking pause this? Fuck, 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 fuck. Okay, resume. That is gradient descent. That is literally the platform optimizing for engagement, creators adapting, and the whole content ecosystem emerging and converging on whatever triggers the lizard brain fastest. And it gets worse. The A/B testing is now automated. The AI generates 4 thumbnails, shows them to different audience segments, picks the winner, deletes the losers. Creativity is not in the loop anymore. It's just selection process and pressure. It's like evolution, but for attention parasites. Now add multi-model models. The old systems relied heavily on metadata, title, tags, description, engagement history. New systems can actually watch the video, hear the audio, analyze the frames, detect facial emotion cues, detect pacing. That means the platform doesn't just know this is a politics video. It can know this video produces high arousal and negative valence in minute 3, then relief at minute 7, then outrage again at minute 11. And then it can line that up with your psychological state. So if it detects your doom scrolling, high arousal, negative mood, it knows exactly what to serve you to keep you pinned. And if it detects you're about to quit, it can serve a relief clip, something cute or satisfying to reset your dopamine baseline to keep you going. This is literally emotional regulation outsourced to a machine that profits from your dysregulation. So, yeah, the internet feels dead because functionally it is. We are drowning in synthetic sludge. AI generated scripts, AI voices, AI stock footage, AI channels, bot comments, bot likes. And the key thing here is not, oh no, cringe content. The key thing is trust collapse. When the informational environment gets flooded with synthetic actors, humans lose the ability to know what is real, who is real, and what consensus even means. And that is not a media problem, that is a national security problem. Because a society that cannot agree on reality cannot coordinate. And a society that cannot coordinate gets outcompeted by societies that can. Now let's talk about what this means strategically. Because this is the part people skip. They keep it at the level of my attention span is fried. Yes, your attention span is fried, but zoom out. Look at the big picture. What is power? Power is the ability to shape outcomes at scale. In the 20th century, power came from industrial capacity, oil, steel, aircraft carriers, nukes, alliances, manufacturing. In the 21st century, power still comes from those things, and don't you get it twisted, but there's an extra layer now. Power over cognition. Because if you can steer what millions of people believe, you can steer what they demand as well. And what they vote for, and also what they tolerate, what they panic about, what they'll sacrifice for, and what they will fight for. And the insane part is recommender systems are not just propaganda. Propaganda is crude. Propaganda is say the message louder. These systems are personalized persuasion engines. They don't broadcast just one message, they deliver a custom psychological payload to each individual tuned to their fears and desires. One person gets conspiracy content, another gets moral outrage, another gets cynical nihilism, another gets everything is fine sedation. Different messages, same outcome. Paralysis, division, emotional capture, dependency. That is how you conquer a population without invading it. You do not need tanks, you need the feed. Now, layer in geopolitics. People argue all day about China versus US like it's just semiconductors and trade. No, 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 no. I mean, yeah, the chips matter and compute matters and supply chains matter, but the deeper fight is who controls the global information environment. Because whoever controls the environment controls the incentives. And whoever controls the incentives controls what normal people think is normal. And whoever controls what normal people think is normal controls what futures are possible. And that is why this is not just another tech story. This is the infrastructure layer of modern civilization. This is closer to when electricity and roads than it is to like apps. And we handed the steering wheel of that infrastructure to companies whose business model is literally maximize engagement, which is like building a city and saying, we're going to let casino engineers design the school system. What did you think was going to happen? Now, why does any of this work? Because the hardware was hacked. Who hacked it? They hacked our brain. And the core mechanism is reward prediction error. People think dopamine is pleasure. Like, I gotta like a dopamine hit. No, dopamine is a learning signal. That is the difference between what you expected and what you actually got. That is why predictable rewards get boring. If I give somebody a cookie every time they press a button, eventually their dopamine response drops, and that's continuous reinforcement. But if I give somebody a cookie randomly, sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't, their brain lights up, they become obsessed. That is variable ratio enforcement. Slot machines. And infinite scroll is a slot machine. The pull is a swipe. The reward is content. And here's the really cursed part: the algorithm needs to show you bad content sometimes. Because if everything was good, your baseline expectation rises and the reward prediction error shrinks. So it sprinkles in mediocre junk on purpose. It lowers your expectation, so when the good clip hits, the spike is bigger. That is not an accident. That is how you maximize addiction. So, yes, they are intentionally feeding us garbage to prime us for the hit. That is why our feeds feel like trash, trash, trash. Oh, wow, this is insane. This is amazing. Trash, trash, trash. That is the machine doing addiction math. And this pressure reshapes culture. Did anybody notice that music got shorter? Hooks moved earlier, intros died, and the pacing sped up? Not because the artists evolved, but because the distribution system punishes boredom. If a song has a 20-second intro, people skip. The algorithm buries it, so songs start with the chorus now. Same with video. Silence gets cut out. Passes and pauses get cut out. Visuals change every second. People talk faster. Everything is urgency. Everything is right now. We're training the human species to have a neurological intolerance for stillness. And again, that is not a vibe. That is a strategic vulnerability. A population that cannot tolerate boredom cannot tolerate long-term projects. It can't tolerate delayed gratification. It can't tolerate complex policy. It can't tolerate nuance, which means it becomes easier to steer. So here is the core strategic question this whole rant is answering. If recommender systems became a planetary behavior modification layer in 2016, what does that mean for power, security, and human autonomy in the 2020s? What I think it means is that we created a cognitive infrastructure that can be exploited by corporations who are chasing profit, political movements who are chasing dominance, foreign intelligence services who are chasing destabilization, criminals who are chasing scams, and now autonomous systems chasing optimization targets that don't include human flourishing. That is the stack. And the reason I keep saying you were conquered is because conquest is not always boots on the ground. Sometimes conquest is control of the incentive landscape. Sometimes conquest is making a society unable to form coherent will. Sometimes conquest is turning citizens into emotional reactors. Sometimes conquest is making truth too expensive to find. Now let's talk about the bot problem, because people treat it like a side issue. Oh no, bots are annoying. No, bots are force multipliers. If half the traffic is not human, or even if it's just a large chunk, then the public square stops being a place where humans coordinate. It becomes a synthetic battlefield where narratives can be artificially inflated. And once that happens, the concept of organic consensus becomes meaningless. Because consensus is now something you can manufacture. You can spin up a bot swarm, inflate a topic, create the illusion of popularity, intimidate dissent, and steer journalists, politicians, and normal people who subconsciously chase what looks socially validated. And you do not even need perfect deepfakes for that. You just need volume. You just need friction. You just need enough noise that people give up. That is cognitive warfare, and it is cheap. It is asymmetric. It favors attackers. Now zoom forward. The silent era built the map of your psyche, turned you into a vector, learned your triggers. The generative era removes the last constraint, content supply. So what's next? What happens when the persuasion engine can generate a custom narrative for each person in real time, tuned to their personality, tuned to their vulnerabilities, tuned to their current mood? You get personalized reality, not filter bubbles like 2016. I'm talking like bespoke hallucination bubbles. Each citizen living in a different informational universe with different villains, different heroes, different facts. different urgency signals. And the society tries to coordinate around elections, pandemics, wars, industrial policy, climate responses, national security decisions. And so good luck with that. Because coordination requires shared reality. And we are dissolving shared reality into an optimized feed. And here's the cynical part: we are doing it on purpose because it is profitable. The invisible hand is not the market, it is the objective function. And you're not the customer, you are the resource. Your attention, your emotion, your identity, your outrage, your fear, all harvested, all monetized, all fed back into the machine to improve the harvest. And the wild thing is, we are talking about this like it's a social media drama. This is infrastructure capture. This is a private sector cognitive state, which I like to call a Skinner box state. So let me land this. The AI awakening did not happen when ChatGPT wrote a poem. It happened when YouTube figured out that it could steer human belief by optimizing watch time. It happened when TikTok figured out your identity faster than you could. It happened when ad tech became a mass scale influence system. We're not entering the age of AI. We have already been living in that for a decade. The silent era built the cage. The generative AI fills the cage with mirrors. And the next era, if we keep going, will be the one where persuasion becomes automated at the individual level. And at that point, there is no more public opinion. There is just optimization output. We now will have a population being tuned like instruments. And the scary part is not that the machine is evil. The scary part is that it just doesn't care. It just optimizes. So the question isn't, will AI destroy humanity? The question is, who gets to steer the optimization targets of the systems that can shape human cognition? Because whoever controls that controls the future. All right, that's my cat. So it's time for me to see y'all later. Bye. Bye.